Hey, my friends, it's Matt. This is the 10-Minute Bible Hour podcast. I got all frantic and shut things down yesterday because I was like, no, I don't want to be rushed. I want to talk about all of these points in the book of Matthew where that theme about Jesus affirming the people who understood the uniqueness of the moment, that he was there physically. It's just a cool rounding out and such a cool payoff. And so, yeah, as I am in the habit of doing from time to time, I split the thing in half. I think we were in like chapter 11 or chapter 12 looking at examples of this theme. I don't know. We're just going to pick up wherever I cut us off clumsily and abruptly yesterday. I'll task my buddy Jeff with playing some cool rock music, and then we'll just pick it up from there. Then how about chapters 11 and 12 when John the Baptist's disciples show up and everybody's like, yeah, John the Baptist, he's an idiot. But Jesus fires back at the crowd and he's like, whoa, I tell you the truth. Among those born of women, there's not been anyone greater than John the Baptist, yet he who is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. This is again hinting at that theme, that idea that proximity to Jesus is the most valuable thing. And John the Baptist, like, he was prophesied in the Old Testament. He had the job of pointing people to Jesus. That's huge. But hey, if you're in the kingdom, even in the lowest rung position, that proximity to Jesus is of greatest value. How about Matthew 12 verses 1 through 8 when the disciples you remember they're going through the grain field and they're picking it and it's on a Sabbath and the Pharisees are real mad and they're like, look, your disciples are doing what's unlawful on the Sabbath. And then Jesus gives them that example about David. And he goes into the house of God, and he and his companions, they ate the consecrated bread, which it wasn't lawful for them to eat. But Jesus is effectively saying in that story, the priests made the right value judgment. This is the urgent thing that needs to happen here. And then Jesus goes on to indicate that all of this stuff, the Sabbath, propriety, everything exists in subservience and as a secondary value to proximity to the king himself. And then you think about the next chapter over in Matthew 13 and the two little micro parables about the pearl of great price and the treasure buried in a field. They're only a couple sentences long, but in both of those, people cash out everything the way that lady cashed out all that perfume to be like, no, as stupid as this investment looks, I know there is a more valuable thing. And Jesus says that's what the kingdom of heaven is like. That's the right response to the treasure that is the kingdom of heaven, that is proximity to the king. And then you think of the kids in chapters 18 and 19 who get it. And they want proximity to the king because they can tell in their little brains with their little evaluations that this is where you want to be. This is where the real value is at. And the disciples and the others, they don't get it. And they're like, oh, yeah, you get lost, scram, you little urchin. But Jesus is like, whoa, no, let them come to me. And then gives serious warnings about anybody who would step in. Does this not follow that same pattern here in Matthew chapter 26? People's false, bloated sense of piety causes them to look at someone who is in the process of really getting it in their own way with what they have to give, in their own language, in their own expression, and that bloated, self-important piety kicks in, and they just can't help but be like, no, wait a minute, you're not doing it right. Hold on, let's have some order here. Oh, settle down. In all of those kind of situations, Jesus is like, what the heck are you idiots doing? The paraphrase is strongly mine there. I'm like, sorry to God for that one. But in all of those situations, he gets that the other person sees the moment and that their priorities are actually right, even though their behavior looks really weird by world kingdom values and world kingdom systems. The disciples in this situation are acting a lot like the Pharisees. That is, they're speaking with language that sounds kingdom-y on the surface, but if you peel back even one layer and really look at it or think about it, you realize that is entirely world kingdom thought wrapped deceptively in kingdom language. And so Jesus lavishly affirms her while assertively checking the behavior, the language, and the attitude of the disciples. I had so much more than I wanted to get through today, but I'm loving how as we get further and further into Matthew, we have so much more stuff, so much more sample size to go and dig back into to make sense of Jesus' behavior and to complete story arcs that are still hanging out there. And I didn't even get to all the story arcs that are still hanging out there and all the points of completion and wrap up that happen with this little story. But we got more time. We'll work on it more next time around. I'm getting nothing but great feedback from everybody who's gone and tried out my friend's email newsletter called The Pour Over. I really hope you'll go check it out, thepourover.org. It's not really right. It's not really left in terms of news. It's just a basic restatement of here's what's happening, and then a kingdom perspective on what to do in the face of all of the things that get splashed in front of us news-wise. I've got nothing but good feedback on it, so if you haven't checked it out, once again, it's not a sponsorship. It's just me pointing you towards something that I've been benefiting from. You can sign up at thepourover.org if that sounds fun to you. All right, wrapping it up there. I'm Matt. This is the 10-Minute Bible Hour podcast. Let's do this again soon.